who am I? Like, that's a very, very general question.
Where did the journey begin for Miss Renee Porter? Because we're sitting in Los Angeles right now, but that's not where it began.
I would say, as far as health and fitness goes, my journey began in Wisconsin. I'm born in West Allis, Wisconsin, lived there majority of my life before moving to California 6 years ago. And with health and fitness, I started mommy-daughter swim classes as a baby.
Really?
As a baby. I didn't cry as a child, so my mom had to actually check on me every single night to make sure that I was breathing.
Right.
I weighed 5 pounds. I was a preemie. And she just wanted me to be active right away. My mom's like my best friend, so she basically got me started in mommy-daughter swim classes. And then at the age of 3, I was able to swim my very first lap all by myself with my little Miss Piggy swimsuit on. So I would say that's kind of how I got my start. That's where I'm from. I'm from the Midwest. Right. Love the Midwest. Love everything about the Midwest.
Okay.
Everyone's friendly. We have Midwest values, strong values. Everyone smiles. Everyone makes eye contact. So when I first moved to LA, I was actually terrified.
Really?
Yes. I cried like my first 3 weeks when I moved here. I had no idea what LA was going to be like. I had a friend from Wisconsin who was like the 7th employee at Snapchat. So we were friends. He was in Wisconsin. He had moved here, and he was like, "Hey, Renee, you don't belong in Wisconsin. You should move here. I'll help you out and help you get a place to stay." And he just wanted me to train him and do his nutrition for him. So I kind of sat around and I was like, I never felt like I fit into Wisconsin. I love the people. I love the values. But I'd go to the gym, and I would have not one super fit person to look at.
Oh,
and I like going to a gym and finding motivation. Like, I like seeing women lift.
Right.
And just being strong. Like, I like being around like-minded people. Right. So he's like, you should move out here. So because of him, my mom and I drove out here, not knowing what California was like. My first time in California, I was in Santa Monica. I stayed there for a week. I went to Gold's Gym, met Charles Glass for the very first time.
Wow.
I thought all of California was Santa Monica. And when I moved out here, I was in Koreatown.
Oh, wow.
So my mom and I, we looked at each other after driving, I don't know, like 3 days. And my mom's like, "Do you want to turn around and drive back home?" And I think I was crying. I was like, "I don't know. This place is crazy." Because I'm used to everything being extremely slow. I'm used to being able to go to Target, the bank, the post office, Walmart. I love Walmart. There's not a lot of Walmarts here.
No, there's not.
I could do all of those things in like an hour.
Yeah, because they're
do that here.
All within like a 3-block radius.
Yeah. I came out here I didn't feel like I belonged in Wisconsin. I was like, I want to be a personal trainer. I want to get more involved in fitness. I found that here.
Gotcha.
It probably took me 3 months to actually adapt to California, which is pretty quick.
That is.
But those were a rough 3 months.
Yeah.
I came out here I didn't have a job, so that took a month to find.
Right.
And it was like an audition. Like, I bartended at Saddle Ranch. They're like, "Give me your headshot." You have group interviews, personal interviews. Like, it was difficult.
So were you like this, like, in high school? Were you, like, in the gym when you were in high school?
Swimming, track, and gymnastics all at the age of 7.
Wow.
And so I was doing gymnastics at the age of 7, like 2 hours a day. I was swimming 2 hours a day. I had, from the age of 7, probably until the age of 24, I think I had a swimming, track, or gymnastics meet every single weekend.
Oh, Jesus.
So that was my life. Life was sports, and it was individual sports.
Right.
Which, looking back, I should have been put into a team sport. But those individual sports kind of made me who I am today.
Yeah.
So I had a full ride swimming scholarship to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Okay. And then I transferred to Oshkosh, where I did swimming and I did gymnastics.
Oh, wow. And what swimming events did you do?
Swimming, the coaches let me do the events that I wanted to do and not what events were best for me. Oh. And that's kind of been how coaches have been for me my whole life. So I did 50 free, 100 free, and 100 backstroke. But my body, because my arms, my wingspan is so long, I would have been better at the distance, like 200, 500 free. Yeah. But I didn't have the mindset then. Gotcha. And I didn't have a coach to push me into the events that I should be in, but I don't like.
Gotcha. And gymnastics?
Gymnastics, I did all around.
Oh.
Because I did gymnastics since I was 7. Group or team sports was basically all individuals. So I did everything.
So after college, where does your path in life go from there?
After college was tough because I'd been swimming my whole life, doing sports my whole life. So then all of a sudden when the sports was over, it was like, now what do I do? Right. On top of, in college, I was swimming 4 hours a day and lifting. So imagine my metabolism and how many calories I'm burning swimming 4 hours a day, morning, evening, and lifting. I was probably eating between 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day. As swimmers then, it's probably different now, but our main source of food was carbs. So it was breads, pasta, pizza. I would eat whole pizzas in college and be perfectly fine. But then I realized after college, I wasn't swimming at the same intensity. I wasn't working out 4 hours a day. I was working out like an hour and a half. And I was gaining weight.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is what people talk about. Diet. You have to change what you eat. I'm like, I never thought this was going to happen to me. So then I had to figure that out. And that's how I actually got into bodybuilding.
Oh, really? What sources of inspiration did you use?
So I had a friend, Demetrius Alekos, who ran a nutrition store. And he put on a bodybuilding show every year. So I'd go into the store, talk to him, and he's like, come to the show. So I sat in the audience the first year. And I remember a woman that was like, I think she was in her 40s, had 2 kids in the audience. She was competing in figure. And I saw her body. It was amazing. And she was also competing next to 20-year-olds. And her body looked better than the 20-year-olds. And I was like, I can do this. So basically, I went on Google because I didn't know that I should have a coach.
Right.
I didn't know there were teams out there. I didn't know any of that. So I basically printed out a stack of research and researched everything on my own. And then I had a friend at the gym who kind of helped me here and there. But basically, I did everything on my own for my first show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how was that mentally when you made the decision to be like, I'm going to do that? Because to be able to sit there and be like, yeah, like I'm going to work out every day, yeah. But to be like, well, I'm going to dress up in a bikini that is like, my shoestrings are a lot thicker than it. It's like, where do you be able to find the confidence to be able to be like, okay, I can do that?
I think I had the confidence naturally from gymnastics.
Okay.
Because you're kind of putting on a show, you're performing. So I think I had that. I also did a lot of modeling when I was younger.
Okay.
Like Kohl's Department Store, I did runway. So I think I had that confidence. And I think it was just, my first show was just me having a goal of the working out's easy.
Right.
Like that's like brushing my teeth. That's not hard for me to do. The diet was what I had to focus on because I was used to eating all carbs. So then to learn a different mindset, to learn what foods work for my body, what foods don't work, like that's the part that I needed. And that's still kind of the reason why I still compete today.
Gotcha.
Because the diet's the hardest part. And it's hardest probably for most people.
Did you learn anything the hard way as to like what certain foods that you may have like enjoyed and loved and you're like, oh no, this does not work at all if I'm going to be doing this type of stuff?
What I learned is that my mind loves carbs. My body does not love carbs. Carbs like rice, oatmeal, breads, pizza. But for one show, my very first show, I remember my friend who I was working with, right before I went on stage, she's like, here, have a slice of pizza. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. So I ate the slice of pizza, and all of a sudden my muscles just popped, and my veins came out, and I looked better than I had before. Like I was kind of flat before.
Right.
But then I tried that the next year, nothing.
No.
So with food, something that can work 1 year or one prep might not work the next time.
Gotcha. So you finally make the decision to come out to Los Angeles. You endure the largest culture shock you've ever experienced in your life. Did you at one point, sit back and be like, look, if I leave here, is it no great loss? Or did you have a mindset goal in mind to be like, no, I'm not leaving here until I hit these goals and establish a path?
I would say for my first 3 months being in LA, I wanted to go home. Like, I didn't feel like I had my community yet. Like, you have to have a community in LA, I feel like, to survive. Midwest people are close to their friends, close to their family. It was actually an ex-boyfriend who I was talking to, and he's like, you have to give it 3 months. And as soon as I hit that 3 month mark, I had a job at Saddle Ranch, I was bartending, I was meeting all these new fun people. And then I also was a personal trainer at Equinox.
Okay.
I was there for 5 years, which I learned a great deal. There's 40 other trainers that were there. So I had my community there.
Gotcha.
And then Gold's Gym. So I wasn't training with Charles right away, but it's like I had that community.
Mm-hmm. So you hit the 3-month mark. You've set up your community. You've got everything that you feel that you can now build on. Where is it? Is it like do you hit, at this point, do you hit like certain goals? You're like, all right, I've got like 2 clients now. It's like, now I'm going to hit 5 clients. Where does it go from there?
It kind of shifted. So Saddle Ranch was my first job, and in the beginning, I was making more money there than I was at Equinox.
Oh, okay.
And then as soon as I decided to be more at Equinox, I started making more there, and then I would cut down to like 2 nights a week at Saddle Ranch just because I wanted to keep the variety. The Equinox that I worked at had a pool, and so my specialty is swimming, but then also doing like rehab therapy in the pool.
Oh, okay.
And so that's just, actually the smell of chlorine is like home to me. I actually feel more natural in water than I do walking.
Really?
I do. I do.
Okay.
So eventually my goals changed where it was being like one of the top trainers.
Okay. And did you ever hit that goal at Equinox?
I think I was like second,
Mm-hmm.
like top 2 or 3 for a few months, but then what I realized, I care more about people than I do about money. I care more about passion than I do about money. So once I started doing more sessions, I could tell like 12 sessions in a day is too much. 10 sessions in a day is too much. So I didn't want my quality of training to go down.
Gotcha.
So like 7 to 8 is like perfect for me. So I would just kind of stay there. I was there for 5 years.
Gotcha. At which point do you find you time to be able to get your workouts in, to be able to get your piece in?
I love structure, but I wouldn't say that I'm naturally an organized person. So I actually train a couple CEOs that are extremely organized and extremely structured. So I have clients that I'm capable of learning from.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one client who gets up at 3:45 every morning, sits down, writes out his whole day. And so I learned from him. So my Google Calendar is like my best friend. So now that I'm getting busier, I will actually put my dog walk. I need to walk my dog in my calendar. I put my workouts in my calendar. People that know me well will schedule like a Friday or Saturday out with me in advance. I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I like to be in bed by 9:30. So.
Did you make a choice at one point to be like, all right, I'm going to do another show, or do you continue doing that?
So right now I'm thinking about making the switch to wellness instead of figure. But with my schedule, I'm in charge of my schedule, thankfully. So I usually have morning clients and I have evening clients. So I can work out super early, or I can work out midday, or sometimes I can work out at night. During the pandemic, I built a gym. So that makes it easier where if I need to, I can just walk outside and work out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, for those people listening at home, what is the difference between figure and wellness?
Figure, bodybuilding, they're looking for that X frame. So there's bikini, which I think most people are familiar with. You're lean, you're toned, you have a curvy physique, you have muscle but not too much muscle. Figure was up from bikini with more muscle. So you want capped out shoulders, you want a small waist, you want a nice dense back, glutes, quad definition, hamstring definition. In Latin American countries, they have a division called wellness, which has been in those countries for quite some time. It's still a hard look, but it's a harder look with curves. So it's basically between bikini category and the figure category.
Gotcha. Were you at a point where you weren't like there physically? Is that why you went to go with the Godfather himself, Mr. Charles Glass? Or like what made you be like, I want to train with him? Because it's like training with him is like a world of its own. So what made you want to go with him to start training with him?
Who doesn't want to train with Charles Glass?
Yeah, very true. Like I would give anything to train with him.
I think it was my first day at Gold's when I had came to visit. I think it was like in 2013. I came for a week and I saw Charles Glass, and I remember he was wearing his blue sweatshirt and his blue cargo pants because that's like his signature uniform.
Yeah.
And I had a blue dress on because when I came to California, I thought, it's LA. I think everybody dresses up in LA. So all I packed were all dresses. And then I got here and I realized nobody wears dresses.
Right.
So I was at Gold's gym. I just finished a workout and I saw him and I got a picture with him. And I just felt such good energy with him. And then I think I was probably at Gold's for a year training for a show on my own. I did the show in California, got first overall for figure. And then I had 4 weeks to train to try to turn pro.
Oh.
And I'd always wanted to work with Charles. And it wasn't until I started getting leaner and training harder that I think Charles was watching and he's like, okay. So we trained for 4 weeks. Then we went to Pittsburgh Pro in 2017, and that's where I got my pro card. But there's nobody like Charles. He is the godfather of bodybuilding. He's a mentor. He's a trainer. He's a father figure. And he's an engineer. So he can take a piece of equipment, and his mind just works differently, where he's using an angle that nobody else thought of. Right. He's making you feel a muscle group that you might not have felt a certain way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like I've seen some of the videos, and it's like he will, like, have this dude, like, if he's doing like standard, just like back row, you know.
Yep.
And he'll be like, all right, now lift your shoulder up just like a half inch, and it's like you see like a world of a difference, and I'm just like that's why he is who he is.
Yep.
Because he will just turn nothing into something. And it's funny that you say that he's an engineer, because I didn't know that, but now it shows. Like, now I know why he is or how he is. Yep. Do you have visions outside of the gym of goals to crush?
Right now, I'm just focusing on doing more like online training. I'm working on my website. So right now I'm focusing more on business and other things to do. Right. And if I compete, I compete. I'm more so doing it for fun. Like, I used to do it because I'm like, my number one goal is to win. But now it's different. Like, I go to competitions to meet new people. Right. I like cheering for people. I like going out to dinner with friends. I like doing photo shoots. So it's more of a journey. Right. And competing in itself it's discipline, and it's a mindset that a lot of people can't have. So I just like pushing my mindset and pushing my discipline.
So before we get out of here, I'm going to hit you with some questions.
Uh-oh. Ready.
All right. Favorite or dream training partner? Who would you want to just be like, yo, this is who I'm working out with?
The crazy thing is I don't have one person that comes to mind that I want to work out with.
Really?
Not one. I don't like really training with people. I love training on my own. If I had to pick someone, 50 Cent trains at Gold's every once in a while. He's pretty dope in person. So I think it'd be cool to train with him. But then on the other hand, I might be stronger than him. He might not like that. So I don't know. I'm going to go with The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock.
There you go.
Yep.
He's
used to train at Gold's too. Charles has, I think, trained him before.
Mm.
And so that would be cool.
Everybody's trained at it's the Mecca.
Yep.
That's where Arnold started. That's where Lou Ferrigno, when he came out here, you know, that's where all those guys did.
Arnold would be somebody too, because Arnold still trains there with his trainer. Mm-hmm. Had a few conversations with him. He's cool. He actually took out time to look at my competition pictures. And he's actually the last person that told me, he's like, Renee, I've seen you train. You train hard, but you don't diet long enough. And when you do a quick diet, you lose too much muscle and your face gets drawn in. He's like, you need to take your time dieting. And I always knew that. But when Arnold Schwarzenegger is talking to me at Gold's Gym telling me that, so yeah.
Yeah. Summer or Winter Olympics?
Summer.
Summer?
I'm like, I was watching Olympic trials today. Gymnastics, swimming, and track are going to be my sports to watch.
If you could compete in one Olympic event, which one would it be?
Gymnastics.
Which one?
What event in gymnastics? Ooh. Beam was never my favorite. I'm going to go with, I'm a powerhouse on vault or floor. So toss up between vault or floor.
Gotcha. What did 2020 teach you about yourself that you may have not have known about yourself?
I'm amazing. No, I learned so much during the pandemic. The pandemic hit, everything shut down, the gym shut down. So my mind went to, how is Renee going to survive and not go broke? So I got permission from my landlord to basically build a gym in my yard. I got a carport on Amazon, 10 by 20, another carport, 10 by 10. I watched YouTube videos. I went to Home Depot 3 days a week. I learned how to use a saw. I learned how to use a drill. I built a gym platform. So now I have a full-size gym with like leg press, leg extension machine, hamstring curl machine, cable machine, dumbbells up to 75, benches, rowers, ski ergs. So I have a whole gym. And without 2020 happening, I would never have felt like I went in survival mode. I'm like,
Right.
I have to survive. What am I going to do? I don't want to live off of unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to not work. And I will go crazy if I can't work out. So in the beginning, I started training people in a park. And then all of my clients during the pandemic trained at the gym. So I was fully booked and busy during 2020. But I learned that Renee's always had a hustle in sports,
Right.
but not so much as in business. And so I learned that from my clients.
Right.
So it's like I had an idea and I went with it.
Can you say that without 2020, would you have still kind of been like, oh, I'm doing the YouTube page, I'm doing this, I'm doing that?
I've always wanted to do YouTube and branch out.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think I'd be as successful if 2020 didn't happen. Because I had like a brain shift.
Mm-hmm.
My brain's now working differently.
Yeah. A lot of people, including myself, didn't hit rock bottom in their entire lives as hard as they did in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now I'm looking back and it's like this podcast wouldn't have been born without it. I was in quarantine. I needed human communication. I needed human contact.
Yep.
So I created the podcast. And it's been able to meet a lot of amazing people, yourself included. And, you know, it's given me so many like other outlooks and so many other things that wouldn't have been possible without 2020. So for that, I'm grateful. Before we let you get out of here, where can the people find you on all forms of social media?
I have my Instagram. It's Renee Porter IFBB. You can also email me if you're interested in doing any type of online training, personal training, or just have a question at reneeporterfitness@gmail.com. And then I'm kind of going to be starting my YouTube, so just check out Renee Porter, and you should be able to find it.
Gotcha. Like one last question, and I forgot the most important one because I love films. What's your favorite film?
Ooh. I think I just posted on my Instagram story like a week. Like a week ago. I'm going to go with Braveheart or Gladiator.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Thank you very much for taking the time to have a word with us. We are grateful. We're appreciative. And we look forward to seeing you where your next chapter is going to lead you. And we'll be cheering and rooting for you for the entire way.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It is my honor. Thank you very much.